Junior Rotax heat number 1 is around about 5 minutes away, so we'll have a quick look at the grid to start with. So Nicholas Ellis starts on pole position with Sam Stoner alongside. Tom Holden, one of the perennial front runners from cadets last season, jumped straight into juniors, missing the usual mini route. He starts alongside Ollie Naylor, with Harry Hurst-Grover and Jaden Hewitt making the trip over from the Isle of Man, sitting on row 3. Finley Whiting and Maximus Shields, row 4. Jacob Vickers and Thomas Elston complete the top 10, with Oliver Buckton and Bartek Filipiak on row number 6. Gertis Latimer, Sandro Ballesteros and Oliver Green complete your runners in this junior Rotax class. There they are, getting themselves ready to go. They are having to wait for around about 2 or 3 more minutes as the preceding race here at Fulbeck is out on circuit. Isn't something we're going to be covering, which is going to give us plenty of time to have a look at some of the intricacies of these junior Rotax machines. We'll also have a quick look as well. I'm going to see if I can dip and find out if we've had any penalties in our preceding races here at Fulbeck for the first races. So we'll start with our Honda class and see whether anything's come up there. We have actually had some penalties applied from that first race in Hondas, with Freddie Lyons picking up a 5-second penalty for ignoring flags. Jensen White has picked up a penalty as well for gaining an unfair advantage, as has Tom Drake for a front fairing penalty, and Jensen White another 5 seconds for a front fairing penalty. So we saw him facing the wrong way as well down there, as Maximus Shields there, the reigning junior Pro Kart CKC champion. And this time in the junior class. We make our way down the grid. That was Finn Whiting in the 81. See Oliver Buckton there in the background in the Autism in Motorsport liveried machine. Let's have a look at the next race then for penalties. That was Junior Pro Kart, and we've got a couple in that as well. We've actually got a couple for scrutineering penalties for Connor McCarthy and Harrison Johns. Front fairing penalties as well for Owen Roberts and Sophie Pawsey, who picks up 2 penalties for gaining an unfair advantage. So Junior Pro Kart have had a few as well. Mini Rotax, the third race that's just been finished over, Lewis Goff picks up a penalty for gaining an unfair advantage and for breaking formation at the start, as does actually Lucas Blanford, the race winner. He's picked up 2 5-second penalties, but he was so far down the road that hasn't affected his finishing position. He just wins by a considerably less margin if you look at the timing of only 4.5 seconds rather than the 14.5 seconds he actually crossed the line, as Oliver Green there, our final runner in the junior Rotax ranks. And here at Fulbeck, you see the dummy grid is towards the tail end of the track, and they will still obviously get a run in previous years. Certainly with Hondas, the standing start classes, they have come straight out of the dummy grid and then just parked straight up on the grid without getting a rolling up lap. But this year, certainly rolling up laps for all of our classes. That gives them a little bit time to familiarise themselves with the circuit. Certainly after yesterday, where we had pretty much wet practice all day, with the exception of one session at the end where I think a lot of runners just bolted on some slicks. Not so much to get the experience out there with the slick tyres, but mainly as well just to scrub them in, ready for race day, because tyres, they do need a little bit of a scrub. You see many of our runners there. You see the tyres down the right-hand side. They're still shining as being rather new, but they will have had a scrub session this morning at the very least to get them into race trim and ready. Just going to dip into the live chat comments then, and thank you very much for everybody that has got in touch. Alicia Max been on saying good luck, Oliver. She also was on earlier as well, wishing everybody luck. From over the road at PFI from David Mack. He's racing, and we'll see him later on through the Alpha Live YouTube channel, hopefully throughout the later on in the year as well. Tom Winter's been on saying go 38 Sam Stoner. So you'll see Sam there, and you'll see him on the right hand side of the screen hopefully in a few moments time for Sam Stoner, because he will be he'll be going off the front row here alongside Nicholas Ellis. Dean Dukes has been on, wishing Toby Dukes good luck. We'll see him in Micromax later on. Dean not with us here today at Fulbeck because he is going to be at Wilton Mill with Jacob Dukes, runner-up last year in the junior ranks, and we'll see him back here in the Junior Kart Championship later on. in the season as we move from Fulbeck to Wilton Mill in the opening weekend of April for round number 2. Emma's been on, wishing Harry Hurst Grover good luck as well. The circuit looks to be clear, and we should hopefully have Junior Rotax out onto the circuit. I think most of the posts are showing green. We should have clear track to go. As you see Tom Holden there, just on the outside of the line, a perennial front runner, as we mentioned, in the cadet class last season. Missed the Mini-Max class, which is often a case with Honda Cadet. Now that Honda Cadet, you can actually run into the year of your 13th birthday, whereas in the past it was just a break when it came to your birthday. As long as you're 12 at the start of the year, you can continue to run well into 13, as the 28, I think, of Oliver Green is facing the wrong way. The youngster from Oldham in Manchester moves up from cadet, and another driver who goes straight into the junior Rotax ranks, missing out the mini class, which does often see drivers only spend a year in that mini class before moving up. You don't often get many going through into a second year just because of the time frame. It is really only a 1-year sort of class, but moving drivers out of cadet straight into the junior Rotax power is quite a big jump for most drivers. Certainly the extra grip they get certainly makes it difficult for them just to make that transition. But we'll see how they go. Let's see whether we can, as Oliver Green is currently off the back of the pack here, we'll see whether the starter is happy for them to go with 95% of the grid, and also whether Nicholas Ellis can slow the pack up enough to allow Oliver Green to close up onto the back. Let's see whether we're going to go again or whether we're going to beat Green at the first time of asking in junior Rotax. Let's see what we do. We are away and racing the green, and it's a good start then from Nicholas Ellis as he makes a good run down, and he doesn't even need to feel the need to go to the inside as Tom Holden goes wide round the first corner. Ollie Naylor goes down to the inside, and Naylor's going to come through into second place from the second row. So it's going to be Ellis, Naylor, and then Holden as Maximus Shields from row number 3, and 6th place is already up to P4. We saw him take 1 victory already in our junior Pro Kart class, and he's now up into P4 in junior Rotax as they're 3 wide round the middle part of the corner. 25 of Jacob Vickers, a driver who ran very, very well in this junior championship last year, picking up P3, the highest finishing runner, making a return visit here at Fulbeck. We expect Jacob Dukes to come back later on in the season. So after missing this opening round, we'll see him at Wilton Mill, last year's runner-up. But out at the front then, Nicholas Ellis leading the way from Ollie Naylor. Then it's Holden. Max Shields as the 18 of Jaden Hewitt goes very, very wide into the turn 1 hairpin. Loses 2 places as well to Finley Whiting and Jacob Vickers respectively. So it is Ellis still then as Naylor closes right in. So Ellis, Naylor, Holden, Shields, Hewitt, Whiting, Vickers, Stoner, Hurst, Grover and Elston is down the left-hand side of the screen, but we do know that Hewitt isn't going to come through in P5 because he went round very, very wide on that first corner, and that's going to drop him down, I believe, to P7. Then over the line they come, and Ellis looked like he was starting to move away, but as Ollie Naylor puts in the fastest lap of the race, though, with a 47.470, and is closing up, although it doesn't seem to be close enough round the complex section to make a good run down the start-finish straight into that first chicane. And we do seem to have split off pretty much in this race into Noah's Ark style. It's 2 by 2 by 2. Everybody's paired up and found a partner to dance with. So it's Ellis and Naylor, the top 2. Holden and then Shields, you see on screen. In the background, paired up are Whiting and Vickers. So everybody's got a friend to play with in this junior Rotax first heat. And it's anybody can break away as the 56 of Curtis Latimer is off, but down on the entry, I think, on the exit of the second chicane. Will he go into retirement? Will he just rejoin the thing, or will he manage to take that kart back round and give his team at least another 5 minutes to get it fixed, as he's currently stuck on the grass, struggling to make his way back onto the tarmac as the leaders are going to start coming through, and Latimer is going to try and bring that kart over onto the grass on the inside, and out of the way he does. But Ollie Naylor from second place is off, and he's going to drop down at least into 6th place. So as the yellow flags came out, Naylor has a catastrophe into that second chicane as everybody else comes through. Naylor throws away second place. Now it looks like he's down into P6. So the order completely changes, and now Nicholas Ellis out at the front has a little bit of respite. I don't even know whether he's had a look over his shoulder yet to see whether Ollie Naylor is still stuck to his rear bumper, because I can assure you he certainly isn't. He's now 1.7 seconds away down the head of the field, having come under the early pressure from the youngster from Nottinghamshire, Ollie Naylor. And Ollie Naylor now down in 6th place with work to do to get back up into that second place, which was going to be his, and his on merit. He's now at half race distance down in 6th place. So the gap between the two leaders then, between the leader and the rest of the chasing field on the previous lap, was 1.74 seconds. At the moment, Max Shields hasn't really shown much interest in getting past Tom Holden. They just work together, but now they come up to some lap traffic, and will any of them take advantage of that? Behind them, though, Finn Whiting in the number 81 JDR liveried machine has started to reel them in as they're side by side in the background, and there Finn Whiting goes down the inside of Max Shields. And now can Max Shields just stick with Finn Whiting and effectively use Whiting and do what we saw happen earlier on in the mini class, whereas as Whiting tries to get past Holden, can Max Shields put his kart in the gap that Whiting creates to get past Tom Holden in the next part of the thing? I think we're going to have to probably wait for that turn 1 hairpin again. It is the most favoured overtaking point on this Fulbeck circuit, such as the fact that it's so wide and you can get down the inside and you don't have to risk compromising your exit. Whiting, though, not willing to wait and tries to get alongside Tom Holden. Holden's going to run him wide onto the curb, and Max Shields should hopefully get a good run. Whiting, though, comes back to the inside. Holden gets hung out to dry on the outside. Shields gets alongside, but Shields is going to be on the outside as they head down towards the chicane at 2, and he has to slot back into formation, though. The driver, though, on the move, Finn Whiting, and the gap towards Nicholas Ellis hasn't gone out, despite the fact that they've been battling. And with 3 minutes remaining, and Finn Whiting, the fastest driver on the track by well over half a second, we could be in for a grandstand finish if he can just catch up now onto the back, as Ollie Naylor has found a way past Jacob Vickers and back up into 5th place. So at least that's 1 place back. He's right on the back of Max Shields, though, who's dropped away ever so slightly as they start to open up a little bit more of a gap between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So Shields, who went well in the early part of the race, potentially got too much heat into them tyres now, and is falling back into the clutches of Naylor and Vickers. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, plus 1 lap in this Junior Rotax Heat 1. And the gap, 1.8 seconds to leader. There's Finn Whiting, the driver that's on the charge. And they'll come over the line in around about 15 seconds' time, and we'll see whether that gap to Nicholas Ellis, who, since Ollie Naylor dropped away from 2nd place, has had a fairly uncontested heat number 1 for the last couple of laps. The gap was 1.8. It's down to 1.5, so we are chipping away, but potentially the time at the top of the screen could be the winner in this one, and certainly it's going to favour Nicholas Ellis. We're going to get probably 3 more laps in, but we are taking a massive stab in the dark at that, because drivers running at 45 seconds, 1.5 minutes remaining. So we're going to get at least 3 laps in, I'm fairly sure. The gap, 1.5 seconds, but Finlay Whiting closing in with every single corner of this Fulbeck circuit. And now it's whether Nicholas Ellis can hold on, not only in terms of time and track position, but then he's going to have that final lap where he's going to have to defend. They'll come through then over the line. They're going to get probably 3 more laps in beyond this one. Fastest lap of the race then from 2nd place, Finn Whiting, a 54.749 for him. And that is 0.3 quicker than Nicholas Ellis, who does respond with a personal best, but not enough. In order, we're going to be now 1.2 between them. They're going to get 2.5 more laps remaining, as Whiting now has Ellis firmly in his sights. 40 seconds at the time. They'll come through. They're going to get 2 more, guaranteed 2 more laps. The remainder, the pack behind them, though, not too far behind in order to pick up any sort of scraps should Whiting and Ellis fall foul of each other on the final 2 laps of this Fulbeck circuit. Junior Rotax Heat 1 then at the opening round of the Junior Kart Championship. The top 10 as it stands: Ellis, Whiting, Holden, Shields, Vickers, Naylor, Hewitt, Stoner, Elston and Ballesteros. with Hurst, Grover, Buckton, Filipiak, Watson and Latimer. He's obviously gone into retirement. We saw that cart snaking its way over as Max Shields leaves the door open for Jacob Vickers. And Vickers slides through fairly uncontested. The gap, look at it at the top there. They're your two leaders. It was 0.6 on timing. It's now nothing almost as there's a blue flag out in front. There's lap traffic. And let's see, they both managed to get to the inside. They come through fairly cleanly on Ollie Green into the complex. They will see the last lap board, and it will be a last lap board of relief, will it, for Nicholas Ellis. There it is on the gantry. He's got 45 seconds at most to hold on from a charging Finlay Whiting. And Whiting, we know this is the corner that he likes to make the overtake. The door is left half open by Ellis. He gives Whiting half a sniff down the inside. Allows Ellis to come to the inside. Ellis once again, and this time you see now with Ellis a much more defensive line into the chicane. Defensive again. They could even back themselves into the pack with half a lap remaining as they go towards the complex section if they keep taking these defensive lines. But Ellis has to do it. Round the outside, Whiting goes, tries to get alongside. It's going to potentially be a run to the line. Now Whiting has to line this one up to try and maximise the exit. Can't do it. Nicholas Ellis holds on for a victory in heat number 1.